Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Naranam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. So, continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 11, Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwarka, text number 18 onwards. Varanendram Puraskritya Brahmana Sasumangale Shankaturya Ninadena Brahma Ghoshena Chadrita Pratijagmurathar Hrishta Pranayagat Sadvasaha. They hastened towards the Lord on chariots with Brahmins bearing flowers and other auspicious items. Before them were elephants, emblems of good fortune. Conch shells and bugles were sounded, and Vedic hymns were chanted. Thus they offered their respects, which was saturated with affection. The Vedic way of receiving a great personality creates an atmosphere of respect, which is saturated with affection and veneration for the person received. The auspicious atmosphere of such a reception depends on the paraphernalia described above, including conch shells, flowers, incense, decorated elephants, and the qualified Brahmins reciting verses from the Vedic literatures. Such a program of reception is full of sincerity on the part of both the receiver and the received. So, wonderful way of receiving Krishna that all these people in Dwarka, including Balramji, Ugrasen, Akrurji, the sons of Krishna, they all went towards him with and created an atmosphere of respect and veneration, affection and veneration. वारमुख्याश्च शतशो यानस्तद्दर्शनोत्सुकः लसत्कुण्डलनिर्भात कपोलवदनाश्रयः. At the same time, many hundreds of well-known prostitutes began to proceed on various vehicles. They were all very eager to meet the Lord, and the beautiful faces were decorated with dazzling earrings, which enhanced the beauty of their foreheads. We may not hate even the prostitutes if they are devotees of the Lord. Even to date, there are many prostitutes in great cities of India who are sincere devotees of the Lord. By tricks of chance, one may be obliged to adopt a profession which is not very adorable in society, but that does not hamper one in executing devotional service to the Lord. Devotional service to the Lord is uncheckable in all circumstances. It is understood herewith that even in those days, about 5,000 years ago, there were prostitutes in a city like Dwarka, where Lord Krishna resided. This means that prostitutes are necessary citizens for the proper upkeep of the society. The government opens wine shops, but that does not mean that government encourages the drinking of wine. The idea is that there is a class of men who will drink at any cost, and it has been experienced that prohibition in great cities encouraged illicit smuggling of wine. Similarly, men who are not satisfied at home require such concessions, and if there is no prostitute, then such low men will induce others into prostitution. It is better that prostitutes be available in the marketplace so that the sanctity of society can be maintained. It is better to maintain a class of prostitutes than to encourage prostitutes within society. The real reformation is to enlighten all people to become devotees of the Lord, and that will check all kinds of deteriorating factors of life. So this so the verse says so many prostitutes also went to receive the Lord. And Prabhupada is explaining that prostitutes were there even 5,000 years ago, even in Dwarka, where Krishna himself was residing. So, and how Prabhupada is explaining that some people will go to them, and if they don't have these kind of women available, they'll create this. They'll make prostitutes in the society. So it's better give them. some of these prostitutes. But the main part that Prabhupada is explaining here is even prostitutes who are kind of somehow they are in this profession, even they can be devotees of the Lord. Nobody can check being a devotee of the Lord. And then Prabhupada talks about Bilmangal Thakur. Shri Bilmangal Thakur, a great acharya of the Vishnu Swami Vaishnava sect in his householder life, was overly attached to a prostitute who happened to be a devotee of the Lord. One night, when the Thakur came to Chintamani's house in torrents of rain and thunder, Chintamani was astonished to see how the Thakur could come on such a dreadful night after crossing a foaming river which was full of waves. So, what had happened with Bil Mangal Thakur? Although he was very wealthy person, but somehow he got and he was married from a very nice family, and somehow he got into a relationship with this prostitute, Chintamani. And a day, his father had died. So that day, although it was raining very heavily, he decided to go to this prostitute after cremating his father. And when he went there, there was a river on the way, and because it was raining so heavily, there were no boats available. So he somehow, because he had that much of urge to meet this prostitute, he just jumped in the river. And then a dead body was floating, and he didn't realize it was dead body. He thought it was just a log of wood. So just to holding on to that log, to that dead body, he crossed the river. And then he came to Chintamani's house, and because, as it said, it was raining so heavily, Chintamani, obviously, the whole house, they didn't have any customers that day. So the girls there, they had locked up the whole house, and it was a big house with a big boundary wall. So now Bilmangal Thakur wanted to get inside, and nobody was opening the gate. So he saw a rope hanging on the boundary wall. Actually, it was a snake, but he thought it was a rope. And he held on to the rope, and just somehow he climbed on the boundary wall. And in the process, his clothes were torn up and he got bruised, and somehow he jumped on the other side of the boundary wall. And then he went inside, and Chintamani, when he saw him coming this way, and Chintamani said, that's a proper writing, she said to Thakur Bilmangal that his attraction for the flesh and bone of an insignificant woman like her would be properly utilized if it could be diverted to the devotion service of the Lord to achieve attraction for the transcendental beauty of the Lord. So this is what Chintamani told him, that you are so much attracted to this bone beauty which is made of bones and skin only, there's nothing else. What if develop a little attraction for Krishna, and that will give you the real that will take you to achieve the real attraction for the transcendental beauty of the Lord. And it is said that that was a turning point in the life of Bilmangal Thakur. And then he left everything and he went towards Vrindavan. On the way to Vrindavan, he stopped at a well to drink some water. So one lady was taking out water. So he asked that lady to give him some water. So when she was feeding him water, Bilmangal Thakur was looking at that lady, and she happened to be a pretty lady. And after drinking water, Bilmangal Thakur kept on following that lady, and lady was with her husband actually. And they were very embarrassed or whatever. And then Bilmangal Thakur, somehow he came to his senses. So when that lady reached her house, Bilmangal Thakur approached her, and she asked her, my dear mother, please give me a pin from your hair. The pin that the ladies keep in the hair, just to keep the hair intact. She couldn't understand why he wants that. But the husband said, okay, give him the pin. This is what he wants. So Bilmangal Thakur took the pin and he plucked both of his eyes. He became blind forcibly on his own by choice. And the lady and the husband, they were shocked. What are you doing? And Bilmangal Thakur said, well, because of these eyes, I get enamored by when I look at some beautiful woman. So since now I don't have eyes, I will not have this kind of problem. So then from there on, he became blind, but he went to Vrindavan. And it is said because he was such a big devotee. Actually, in his previous life, just like Bharat Maharaj, Bilmangal Thakur had come to the stage of Bhav Bhakti, but somehow he fell down. And it is said that that Chintamani, the prostitute that he used to go to, actually it was his guru who had come. Either they say who had come in the form of Chintamani or who had sent somebody as Chintamani, one of the disciples of Chintamani, to bring Bilmangal Thakur back. So Bilmangal Thakur, then he was on the way to Vrindavan, and he was singing bhajans of Krishna because by then he was completely immersed. And then the little boy came and he said, Baba, you are blind. How will you go to Vrindavan? So Bilmangal Thakur said, well, Krishna will take care. So he said, okay, don't worry, I'll take you to Vrindavan. So that boy took him to Vrindavan. So outskirts of Vrindavan, the boy left his hand and he wanted to go away. And Bilmangal Thakur understood it was actually Krishna who had come. And a beautiful poem he wrote or he sang, his meaning was, um, you can go away by letting go of my hand, but since I have captured you in my heart, how will you go away from there? It's a beautiful poem. I'll try to find out. How will you run away from my heart? Right now you can go away. I'm blind, so you can let go of me and go away. But how will you go away from my heart? So other also, he wrote beautiful poems, and Bilmangal Thakur, whatever he wrote, actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also used to sing or listen to those bhajans or poems of Bilmangal Thakur. So and like Prabhupada also says, later on Thakur accepted the prostitute as his spiritual master, and in several places of his literary works, he has glorified the name of Chintamani, who showed him the right path. So a prostitute can be a Vaishnava and could be a guru also. In fact, in Srimad Bhagavatam, also in later chapters, I think in 11th or 12th canto, there is a story of prostitute Pingala and how she came to the self-realization. If Srimad Bhagavatam mentions anybody's story, it must be a great devotee. Otherwise, Shukdev Goswami had better things to do. So Pingala must be a very big devotee and very realized soul. And that's why her story is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. In Bhagavad Gita 9:32, Lord says, O son of Pritha, even the low-born Chandalas and those who are born in a family of unbelievers and even the prostitutes shall attain perfection of life if they take shelter of unalloyed devotional service to me. Because in the path of devotional service there are no impediments due to degraded birth and occupation. The path is open for everyone who agrees to follow it. So that is devotional service. It's open for everyone. Not just not for Brahmins only, it's for everyone. Everybody can become a devotee. It appears that the prostitutes of Dwarka, who were so eager to meet the Lord, were all his unalloyed devotees, and thus they were all on the path of salvation according to the above version of Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, the only reformation that is necessary in society is to make an organized effort to turn the citizens into devotees of the Lord, and thus all good qualities of the denizens of heaven will overtake them in their own way. So there is no mention of these prostitutes changing their profession, even if they were living in Dwarka and they were unalloyed devotees of Krishna. So it's not the profession that counts, it's the consciousness that matters the most. Of course, we try to keep the right profession, so we don't have to break the four principles. But but this is not what Krishna is looking for. He's looking for what's in the heart. Just like there's a famous story of a meat seller. He used to sell meat, and he had some stones by which he used to measure the quantity or the weight of meat. And one day a sadhu was passing by, and he saw this stone seller. He was selling meat, and one side it was meat, and one side he was putting that stone to measure how much meat is there. And the sadhu, when he saw this stone actually was Shaligram Shila. He got so upset. He went to the meat seller. What are you doing? You'll go to hell. This is big time sin. You're using Shaligram Shila to weigh the meat. I mean, this is all nonsense, rascal. What are you doing? And the meat seller, he got very scared, and he gave that Shaligram Shila to Sadhu. Okay, you take it, you worship it because I cannot worship, and somehow I'll try to weigh my meat somehow to sell it. And that night, and the sadhu took Shaligram Shila. Shaligram Shila is actually non-different from Vishnu. So he came in the dream of sadhu. He said, "You take me and take me back to that meat seller." And sadhu was surprised. Why, my lord? Why you want to go back there? And Shaligram Shila said, I know he was doing wrong thing, but he had so much of devotion in his heart. Even while selling meat, he used to sing bhajans for me, and that's what I like the most. Here you are supposed to be a sadhu, but you don't sing any bhajans for me. So take me back. And sadhu had to take him back to the meat seller. So this is what Krishna sees. What's in our heart, not what kind of dhoti we are wearing, what kind of beautiful tilak we have, or kanthi mala is properly placed and the shikha is nicely done, or the gopi dress for the ladies, or what. No, this is not what Krishna says. Krishna sees what's in our heart, and that's what is most important for him. Outwardly we can show off to anybody whatever we are, and we can try to impress people, but what's in our heart, and that either Krishna can see, we can see, or Guru can see. Nobody else can see. So we have to be very careful. So this is what Prabhupada is writing, that these ladies, although they were prostitutes and they were never changed their profession, but they were devotees of Lord and they were living in Dwarka. नट नर्तक गंधर्वा सूत मादग वंदिना गायन्ति च उत्तम श्लोक चरिताति अद्भुतानि च. Expert dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and learned speakers all gave their respective contributions, being inspired by the superhuman pastimes of the Lord. Thus they proceeded on and on. So in the society, we can understand in the Dwarka, city of Dwarka, how many people were living there? There are all sorts of people that are needed in a society. So it appears that 5,000 years ago, the society also needed the services of the dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, public speakers, etc. Dancers, singers, and dramatic artists mostly hailed from the Shudra community. And they are actually the leaders of our society today, all the movie stars. So basically, this is Prabhupada writing, they are mostly hailed from the Shudra community. But we go very crazy about these movie stars. Whereas the learned historians, genealogists, and public speakers hailed from the Brahmin community. All of them belong to a particular caste and they become so trained in their respective families. Such dramatists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and public speakers would dwell on the subject of the Lord's superhuman activities in different ages and millenniums, and not on ordinary events. Nor were they in any chronological order. All the Puranas are historical facts described only in relation with the Supreme Lord in different ages and times, as well as on different planets also. Therefore, we do not find any chronological order. So these are all superhuman pastimes of Krishna. They were narrated and written down by these different people. Even 100 years ago in India, all dramatic performances were centered around the superhuman activities of the Supreme Lord. The common people would be verily entertained by the performances of dramas and yatra parties played wonderfully on the superhuman activities of the Lord, and thus even the illiterate agriculturist would be a participant in the knower of Vedic literature, despite a considerable lack of academic qualifications. So, Prabhupada, even 100 years ago, the movies that used to come out, it was all about the Supreme Lord, different pastimes, or the street plays that used to happen. And I mean, not 100 years ago, obviously, and but we remember when we were little, we used to go watch this Ramayan, Ram Leela, and it used to happen at every corner in those days during in whatever October November time, and we used to really enjoy that, love that, and it was very very unprofessionally done. It was not at all professional Ramayana. It was very like very simple way it was done, but we used to enjoy. We used to love that because there was no TV Maharaj at that time. And the moment TV Maharaj came, and that's it. Everything went down the drain. And now we don't even need TV Maharaj. Everything is in our cell phone. And I don't think anybody watches Ramayana on the mobile phones. That's why TV, they call the TV as what? Idiot box, right? Because one who is inside the TV is also an idiot, and one is outside is also an idiot. Therefore, expert players in drama, dancers, singers, speakers, etc., are required for the spiritual enlightenment of the common man. So, this was the whole idea spiritual enlightenment of common man. But now it has become more and more like commercial and money making business than anything else. भगवांस्तत्र बन्धूनां पौराणाम् अनुवर्तिनां यथा विधि उपसंगम्य सर्वेषां माददे. Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, approached them and offered due honor and respect to each and every one of the friends, relatives, citizens, and all others who came to receive and welcome him. The Supreme Lord Personality of Godhead is neither impersonal nor an inert object to reciprocate the feelings of his devotees, or inert object unable to reciprocate. Here, the word yatha vidhi, or just as it behooves, is significant. He reciprocates just as it behooves with his different types of admirers and devotees. Of course, the pure devotees are of one type only because they have no other object for service but the Lord. And therefore, the Lord also reciprocates with such pure devotees just as it behooves. There are others who designate him as impersonal, and so the Lord does not take any personal interest in them. This is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tan satyave bhajamiham. So if those who approach him in an impersonal manner, like saying ultimately the absolute is light or he has no form, So he also becomes like that with them. He does not reciprocate with them with love and affection. But those who approach him in a loving way, in an affectionate way, he reciprocates them with them in the same way. This is Krishna. It's just like, I mean, even anybody like us, if somebody doesn't treat us or doesn't approach us in a loving way, obviously we will not show love for him. We'll be keeping our emotions inside. So similarly, Krishna, he also does the same thing. Because he is a person, he is a supreme person. He satisfies everyone in terms of one's development of spiritual consciousness, and a sample of such reciprocation is exhibited here with his different welcomers. Hare Krishna. So I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mata.
Prabhuji, this Will Mangal का जो अभी आपने जिक्र किया यहाँ पे, the way he has become similarly, तुलसीदास जी का भी इंसिडेंस आता है रामायण में शायद तुलसीदास जी का और वाल्मीकि जी का. तुलसीदास का exactly same.
Not exactly. Actually, he went to meet his wife. His wife had gone back to Maika, to her paternal house, and he missed her so much that he went. And on the way, because he didn't know the path, so he held on to a cow's tail, and the cow ran towards that village. And he had all his clothes torn up, his body was bruised, and by the time he reached the house of his wife, he was pretty much out of sync. We can say that. So the wife came out, and wife said, "What is this? You have so much of affection for this body. If you had that much affection for Ram, what could you have done?" And that was it. Then Tulsidas left here. And I think then he came to Banaras or Ayodhya, I don't know. And that's where he wrote Ramcharitmanas.
Chitrakoot, Ayodhya.
Ayodhya.
Ayodhya
Okay.
में है ना?
Okay.
Just remembering.
Yep.
Yeah.
So wives could be gurus also. It depends how we take them. And today Jagannath is going through different emotions here because he displeased his wife. In fact,
he will offer rasgullas.
No, not today. Today is today is a day of Adharpanna. So what happens in the evening, because it is said on Rath Yatra, for Rath Yatra, all the 33 crore Devi Devtas, they also come. So today they have these big pots, huge pots, and it is full of different kind of liquids. I mean, one pot at every chariot, and there's so many ingredients in there. So what they do in the evening, they offer it to Lord, and then they break that pot. And anything that falls down goes below the chariot. Nobody touches that. It is said it is for the demigods, whoever had come. So they also get the Mahaprasad. So no, so whatever is left in the pot, the devotees, then the pandas, they bring it down. And last year I had that. I mean, it's very thick. Whatever they make it, and I had the good fortune of tasting that thing. So it's called Adharpanna. So tomorrow night is when Jagannathji goes back. But Balramji and Subhadra goes back first. And when Jagannathji tries to go, Lakshmiji closes the door. And then he has to offer her lots of rasgullas. And then she also offers him rasgulla. He eats, he accepts, and then she allows him in.
So sweet.
It's a beautiful ceremony. It's beautiful.
You're missing it, huh?
Yeah. Today it was Shonavesh, so he wears all this golden attire, and general public, they do so many of parikrama of the Lord. I mean, it's crowded like anything when they're doing parikrama of the chariot, because there's not much space there when they're doing parikrama. But it is said this is what the tradition is. And then so today, according to India, today so Adarpana, and tomorrow when he goes inside, see, now government is interfering everywhere. I don't know why. Otherwise, they say there used to be so much of fireworks in Jagannath Puri because the Lord is finally going inside the temple after spending 9 days out. But government has stopped all this now. No more fireworks.
Due to safety reasons.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Whatever the reason. But they can do a little bit away or someplace. They can do it. They want to arrange. They can arrange.
So they don't do at all?
No, nothing. It has become such a simple ceremony now. Earlier it used to be very elaborate, and it would go on till midnight before Lord Jagannath goes in. But last year when I was there, I think by 9 p.m. everything was finished. So that part is wrong. Whatever the tradition is, let it be. Why change it? Anyway, it's up to Lord Jagannath, whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Chalo, I guess we can stop here. You all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Jagannath. Jai Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.